My name is Angela. I'm 30, married for 5 years. We have a daughter, Natalie. She's in her final year of preschool and will be starting elementary school next year. I can't help but spoil her being my only child. I work, but not in a typical office job like some of the other moms. It's a unique job, but I've managed to keep it going with my husband's support. Plus, I want to stay home as much as possible for my daughter, and I like where I am now, so I have no plans to quit. That's why I only leave house when I have work. It might seem selfish, but this setup works perfectly for me. My husband's 32, a very dedicated office worker. Ever since we started dating, he's been loyal, not even glancing at other women. No matter how rough his day is, he never brings work problems home. He's family-oriented, willing to push his own desires aside if it makes us happy. He absolutely adores our daughter, doting on her as much as possible. I love him so much for it. The other day, Natalie said, "Mom, I want to take piano lessons too." It seems one of her friends at preschool started taking them. If she wants to try, I want to support her. If not, we'll find something else. I don't want to snuff out her interest just because she's young. It's up to us as parents to nurture or limit her potential. So, I talked it over with my husband, and he was thrilled. He probably imagines her in a dress playing the piano. And so, she started attending piano lessons, but there was an issue lurking within the piano school. Many of her preschool friends were there, which normally wouldn't be a problem. It's better to see familiar faces than strangers. Plus, the large school had about 5 teachers, leading to around 5 moms chatting in the waiting area. As classes end, more students and moms arrive, turning the place into a mini social hub. The conversations usually revolve around complaints about piano practice, parenting styles, and other such topics, with Jenny at the center. Jenny is the mom of Christine, one of Natalie's preschool friends. Despite Christine being such a sweet girl, her mom seems pretty pretentious. She always shows up in suits or dresses, which feels out of place because other moms wear jeans and t-shirts. According to Jenny, "You can't come to piano lessons dressed like that." I don't get it. Does wearing a suit somehow make the kids play better? But I keep quiet because speaking up seems like it would cause a huge backlash. Jenny loves to dominate the conversations and goes on the attack if anyone disagrees with her. It seems to amuse her. I'd prefer to keep my distance, but our kids go to the same preschool, so complete avoidance isn't an option. Plus, I don't want Natalie to end up crying at preschool because of some drama I caused. So I've kept up superficial interactions with her. Then one day, Jenny's hostility turned towards me. It all started when another mom said something about not being able to teach their child piano. "Oh, you can't play?" "I can, of course." I secretly thought that her posture, puffing up her nostrils and puffing out her chest, was just like a gorilla. It's sad for the kids if you can't teach them while they're practicing. But isn't that what teachers are for? I've loved the piano since I was little, even went to music college, but my mom never taught me. Jenny asked, "What about you, Angela?" Oh, I guess I didn't need to ask. It was clear she was mocking me. The other moms looked uncomfortable, but nobody stood up for me, probably fearing they'd become her next target. Makes sense. But I didn't need to say, "I graduated from music college, so yes, I can play." What would be the point? "Well, I might not be able to play like you do, Jenny." That's understandable. After all, there's a world of difference between you and me. She said, clearly enjoying her own self-promotion. I was hoping that would be the end of it, but she just kept going. I have a piano at home, but what about everyone else? It's tough for the kids to practice if you don't have one. I had to convince my husband to buy ours. Jenny bragged. Replies of, "We have one," and "We don't have one," echoed around the room. True, having a piano is essential for practice, but they're not cheap, so it's unrealistic to expect everyone to have one. Some people even think it's enough to practice in the lesson. It just so happened that no one present here seemed to think that way. What about you, Angela? You have a piano, right? Jenny prodded. Yes, we do, I replied. Oh, you do? I bet it's just a small one. She couldn't help but add that comment. Always one to have the last word. Could you show us what kind of piano it is? She asked. I was speechless. Having her over to see the piano meant showing off my house. She'd probably just use it as another chance to one-up me. Honestly, it was a hassle. But before I could figure out how to dodge the bullet, the other mom's enthusiasm made it impossible to refuse. And so, a tea party to show off Mom's piano skills to the kids was organized. Jenny's idea, of course. It's a stupid idea to show off to the kids. Look, moms can play this well. Bet you want to learn to play like us. The moms were excited about the idea, thinking it a chance to impress their kids with their skills, though I thought it was a waste of time. I put on a fake smile, though. On the day of the party, Jenny and several moms showed up. But as soon as they entered the house, Jenny frowned. Oh my, Angela, your place is quite big, she commented. Oh, it's not that big, I replied, though it is, given that my grandfather built it for us as a wedding gift. He even made sure that it had enough room for a piano. Wow, Natalie, your piano is so big, Christine exclaimed. Yeah, it's a grand piano, Natalie proudly responded. Wow. Jenny seemed a bit jealous at that moment. Soon, the rest of the kids ran into the room where the piano was. You know, her piano at home is much smaller, Christine confided. Really? I didn't know pianos could be that small. Natalie was surprised. She's only ever seen her grand piano at home, so she probably thinks everyone who takes lessons has a grand piano at home. As the adults followed the children into the piano room, everyone shook their head in amazement. However, Jenny was the only one that seemed to have shaken her head in frustration. Having such a big piano and not playing it would be a waste. She smirked. Indeed, I agreed. She heard my agreement and assumed I couldn't play, leading her to become cocky. She then suggested, let's all play this grand piano. It'll be good for the kids to hear a different sound than what they're used to in class. It's tuned, right, Angela? Tuned? I was totally caught off guard by her question. Triumphantly, she said, Of course. If it's not tuned, the sound would be off. You don't just have this piano for show, do you? She gloated as she had caught me in a trap. So we decided on the order of performances. Each mom, despite expressing doubts about playing such a grand piano, took their turn. They played classical pieces and songs that children would enjoy. However, the kids weren't impressed with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, let alone classical music. They preferred to eat snacks, drink juice, and chat among themselves. Some kids even started running around, leaving their parents scrambling to catch them. When it was Jenny's turn, the moms tried to calm their kids. They were bracing themselves to applaud her performance, knowing she'd be furious otherwise. So they had no choice but to listen attentively. But Jenny, though she sat up straight and looked the part, couldn't play well at all. She chose a classical piece, but it was clear she was struggling. After her performance, she sighed loudly, making sure everyone could hear. "It's really hard to play on an unfamiliar piano." She implied she usually played better. But it was evident she was the least skilled player there, something anyone could see. Still, the moms applauded her, saying, "Well done," and I clapped along silently. "Angela, you're used to your own piano, so you'll probably give a wonderful performance. I'm looking forward to it," she said, settling back onto the sofa. I sighed softly and took my seat at the piano. Now, what should I play? I wondered. That's when my daughter Natalie called out loudly, "Mom, play the usual one!" Playing classical music would surely bore the kids into making a fuss, especially since they were already at their limit. So I took a deep breath, gently placed my fingers on the keyboard, and I started to play, letting my fingers dance across the keys like waves. The song that flowed from the piano brought cheers from the kids. The usual song I played was a medley of anime theme songs I had arranged, designed to captivate the children's hearts with its infectious dance-inspiring rhythms. I even included a modified version of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony that surprisingly kept it fun for the kids, including my daughter, who always loved it. As expected, all the children were thrilled, their eyes sparkling with joy. The 20-minute performance had even the most restless kids listening quietly. And when it ended, they clamored for more. I continued to play a few more requested songs, earning amazed compliments from the other moms. As I finished, Natalie loudly proclaimed, "Mom's piano playing is the best!" The children nodded vigorously in agreement. Christine asked, "Natalie, how come your mom is so good?" It was a pure question. Whether she was comparing me to her mom or to the other moms, I don't know. "Because my mom is a famous pianist," my daughter answered, causing the adults to widen their eyes in surprise and the kids to crowd around her, asking, "What's a pianist?" Natalie explained, "A pianist is someone who plays the piano on a big stage wearing a beautiful dress. When my mom plays, she gets lots of applause." The children were impressed. "Wow, that's amazing!" While the adults began to recall, "I think I've seen her in a magazine." However, Jenny was not pleased. "Why didn't you say you were a professional pianist? Of course you're good if you're a pro. You kept quiet just to surprise us and feel superior, didn't you? What kind of person does that?" Her words were filled with disdain for me, and they didn't seem to stop anytime soon. "How can such a famous pianist be at home every day? That's strange. Are you really a pianist?" I responded, "Yes, I haven't been doing many concerts since having Natalie, but when there is a concert, a lot of the planning can be done remotely, and I practice at home." Faced with my logical answers, Jenny fell silent, unable to counter. Then the other moms took over, asking about my next concert and where it would be, leaving no room for Jenny to interject. Jenny's plan had backfired, and she found herself isolated by her own actions. I felt a bit sorry for her, but she was the one who suggested the mini concert. By the time everyone left, the moms were suggesting we should have another tea party, and Jenny's comments were simply ignored. I hoped this would teach her not to belittle others. If everyone could interact more equally, it would be the most enjoyable for all. Yet Jenny's story didn't end there. Afterward, I heard from the other moms that when she got home and her husband came back, she ranted about what happened that day. I was set up by Angela. If she's a professional pianist, she could have just said so. Instead, she flaunted that grand piano just to embarrass me. What kind of woman does that? Her husband, tired as he was, listened to her without interrupting. Apparently, he had reached his limit after enduring her anger without even eating dinner, and he finally yelled back, denying her pretentiousness entirely. How can you throw a fit about a tea party you invited yourself to? That's outrageous. Coming home to just your angry yelling is something I can't stand. He didn't stop there. He said this wasn't just about that day, but had been an ongoing issue since they got married. He had resigned himself to it because they were married, but he was worried about the impact on their daughter, Christine. He feared she might grow up to be as vain and exhibitionistic as her mother. He even mentioned considering divorce if things didn't change. For Jenny, a stay-at-home mom, the mention of divorce hit hard, and she apologized to her husband in tears. Thanks to that, she stopped bothering me at the piano school. She still comes dressed in suits or dresses, but no longer brags loudly or tries to flaunt herself. Instead, she sits quietly in a corner of the waiting room. It really made me think about how people can change. Amidst this, the other moms started talking to me more, but I have no intention of becoming the boss mom. I'm just there as the mom of my adorable daughter, same as always. Lately, my daughter has been saying, "When I grow up, I want to be a pianist like you, Mom." So I dream of performing on the same stage with her someday. I'm very happy with how things are now.